Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. It's another exciting week of video game news, and we've got a very special episode for you today. This is our first in-studio recording, and we are pumped to be together to talk all the video game news for the week. From the gameplay reveal of Marathon to the announcement of Zero Company and Hades 2 being a Switch 2 exclusive, it's going to be a fantastic episode. But before we get to that, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, Marvel Rivals used his physique for Squirrel Girl and the Hulk and said, no upgrades needed. It's Ryan.
Ooh. Beef me up, Daddy. Come on, let's go.
I was really wondering how you were going to take that Squirrel Girl thing.
Well, I got cake, you know? That's what I do a lot of squats, okay?
We're not.
Somebody's going to need to quote, beef me up, Daddy.
Oh, boy. And joining us, he was the motion capture actor for Venom's twerking emote, but he prefers if people call him Mr. Fantastic. It's John.
I think that's largely positive, guys.
That is very positive.
I'll take Mr. Fantastic.
Dude,
that sounds pretty good.
Venom can twerk, too, man.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic was my nickname in college.
Oh,
there you go.
Wait, I'm not sure I believe that. Guys, we are together. We are recording. This is absolutely a blast. Everybody is in for a great episode. This is something we've been wanting to do for a little while, but it's kind of hard to find a space that is set up for a local recording like this. But man, this is awesome, guys. I am pumped.
Guys, it is so cool to be doing this in the room with you, man.
Yeah,
I'm
it really
super
is.
Stoked.
Love it.
Somebody smells really bad, though.
That's Ryan. That's Ryan over there. Yeah, sorry, I can smell it, so that means it's coming past me, right? You know, so
This is an AOE.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
My attack.
Is this Ryan's ultimate?
I'm gonna ult.
Oh man, guys, we've got some really exciting news to talk about. The Marathon reveal. Oh my goodness,
The big one.
Whew, that's a big one. I personally have a lot to say about that one, so we'll see what's going on there. But before we get into all the news, you know, we've been doing this quick question thing from some of our listeners, our Epic supporters, and we do have another quick question. And I'm just going to start off by saying, I freaking love this guy, dude. This guy, you know, he joined our Discord server a while back. He has been awesome. He stays up late to participate in our community nights. And by late, I mean like really late, like 4 a.m.
Early.
It depends on how you think about that. But this question comes in from Panzerfaust Ali, amazing member of the community. We love you, Ali. And the question is, surely you have already talked about that, but I haven't heard it yet, I think. So my question would be, what was the first game you guys have ever played?
We have answered this, our names aren't Shirley.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh,
Good Naked Gun.
Four
right?
people.
Yeah.
Four
Naked
people.
Gun.
Get that reference.
They got the new Naked Gun movie coming out.
Oh, I don't know how I feel
It's
about
got
that.
Liam Neeson. It's got Liam Neeson in it.
I feel even worse about that. Liam
For those
Neeson
that
or
knew that-
Leslie Nielsen?
No,
'Cause
he's dead.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
It would be
gone.
way better if
Yeah,
they got
that's-
him in it. Yeah.
It's like a
This
Weekend
is-
at Bernie's thing going on. I mean, I'm the oldest, so I'll just start. Pong. Literally, Pong is the first game that I ever remember playing. I know that sounds terrible, but it was mind-blowing at the time. I have an older brother, and we had the two little controllers with the dial on it that you would spin to move your little paddle. And I remember playing Pong and thinking this was the greatest thing that the world has ever seen. And that was what started my video game passion. I was 4 years old. Literally 4 years old, man, when I remember like playing Pong for the first time. So if anybody wants to figure out that that time frame, then you'll know how old I actually am.
So you played Pong a lot more current than me, but like I also, my first game I remember playing was also Pong. I remember the dials. My dad just happened to show up with one. He worked a lot of trades and odd jobs, and sometimes people would like give him stuff, you know, or stuff as payment. And he came home with an Atari. And lo and behold, they had a Pong on it. And I remember sitting there probably at 4 or 5 as well. And I remember just doing it. I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. I'm going to dedicate my life to screen games.
So you played Pong Remastered I played the original Pong.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Mine was also Pong. My
What?
yeah,
No
my,
way.
So old,
I know.
We're so
This is the most
old. Oh,
uninteresting set of answers to a question ever. But yeah, my cousin had an Atari. They, were set up better than I was, and it was Pong.
All right. Well, there you go.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
The world doesn't know what Pong brought to it. You all get us now.
Yeah. Panzer, I wish we had more interesting answers to your question, but as soon as we get a stay up late to hang with the boys merit badge, you're getting the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and a little birdie told me that instead of a community night, we're actually going to be doing a community morning for all of our overseas listeners so that all of you don't have to stay up till 4 a.m. to play Rivals and Halo with us. So that's coming here in the near future.
You can all get your butt kicks in the morning.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We'll be wide awake, man. No tired for us. And then, guys, we do have another amazing review to read. This one comes in from the one and only Lucy Moon.
Yeah.
Who had a birthday recently that may have gotten, these guys to dance and twerk, which was also part of the intro for John there also. But Lucy Moon did leave us a review, and it is titled Best Gaming Dads and Podcast. And it says, as someone who has strictly lingered on the true crime side of the podcast world, I decided to branch out and expand my interests. I cannot express how happy I am to have found the Video Gamers Podcast. Josh and Ryan have incredible chemistry that leaves me feeling like I reconnected with an old friend after every episode. I look forward to going through the entire backlog and perhaps breaking out of my Discord lurker role someday. Spoiler, she did.
She did. Came in strong.
Yeah. Thank you for all the laughs, and maybe I don't thank you for the countless additions to my gaming wish list. P.S. The indie gaming episodes are a 10 out of 10 addition. You guys are the best.
Yep. Silent golf clap for Ace. Well done.
Yeah,
sir.
good job, Ace, too.
Yeah.
It's funny because you could tell how old, like we're so backed up on these reviews that it's like Lucy Moon is talking about maybe not being a lurker, and then John's with us now doing shows. Ace is with us
I'm
now
used to being
doing
excluded
shows.
from conversations.
It's just that these are like 2 months old, man.
We're
so
a little behind.
a little
We're
bit.
sorry. There's been a lot, just you guys love us. That's what
The
that's what it
listeners,
is.
the listeners have stepped up when we said, "Hey, man, remember to leave us a review." They really did step up, and so now it's our turn to step up and get through some of these reviews also. Okay, so one other thing that we need to talk about, guys, before we get into the news for this week is we did cover last week on last week's Twig. We covered the story that Drug Dealer Simulator was suing Schedule 1 because they said, hey, this is copyright infringement. We make a drug dealing game. You can't make a drug dealing game. And so we covered that story. And normally we don't go back and say, oh, well, hey, that's what people were talking about. But in this case, we did get something wrong, or we got actually a little bit news after that broke that came from the actual developer of Drug Dealer Simulator 1 and 2 that said, whoa. I am not suing Schedule 1, guys. Like, I'm happy for these guys that made a game. It's doing great. Please stop review bombing my game because that's what gamers were doing. And he said, it's not me. I am not suing Schedule 1. So then the news came out that it is actually the publisher of Drug Dealer Simulator 1 and 2 that is not happy about Schedule 1. So it is the publisher that was looking into taking legal action against Schedule 1. The developer of Drug Dealer Simulator had nothing to do with that. And the news has come out at this point that they're not actually actively being sued. They are just looking into a copyright infringement to see if maybe they might have a chance to sue Schedule 1 in the meantime.
Yeah. Sounds like a publisher.
But, somebody getting sued, that's not something that should be taken too lightly. And we don't ever want to, kind of tell people like fake news or news that isn't accurate. So we've always said we're gamers, we're not industry experts. So, there are times where there are things that, we get the news that is put in front of us. And in this case, it wasn't 100% accurate. And so we just wanted to clear that up because it really does seem like the developer of Drug Dealer Simulator 1 and 2 is like, dude, please, this is not me.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair to kind of point that out
sure.
to people too. So,
Yep.
Oh boy.
Big
Here we
news
go.
this week.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
John, how you feeling, buddy?
I feel good.
You feel
I
good?
actually feel so good that even though I know what you're going to say is negative, it's not going to tear me down, man. I feel
is
good.
It negative? Yeah. Is it negative?
Well, let's hear it.
Well, okay. So we got... All right, Marathon. Bungie's next big game that they've been working on, which seems like an eternity. I think it's been like 5 years, but it's funny because I think they announced this like 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's been in development for a long time.
It's been in development for a long time. Now, we love Bungie. I mean, Halo, Destiny. I mean, some of the best games that we have ever played have come from Bungie, and we got to interview Bungie. Fantastic people.
Yep.
I mean, legitimately, if you haven't seen that episode, they are awesome. And so we really appreciated being able to interview them and for the time into things that we learned about the Bungie Foundation, what it's like to be a developer and that kind of stuff. So mad respect for Bungie for what they've given to gaming. Marathon. we get the announcement of the announcement, right? Hey, we got an announcement, guys. We're going to announce something. We're going to announce Marathon. Ryan, you kind of joked about this. And so we got a gameplay trailer. We said we finally get the unveiling of Marathon from Bungie. We get to see what this game is all about. And
what do you think?
It's an extraction shooter, guys.
It's a game.
It's a game. It's an extraction shooter. Now, John, have you ever played an extraction shooter?
I don't know what the term means.
Okay.
But probably.
Have you heard of Escape from Tarkov? That's probably the most famous extraction shooter.
Nope.
Ryan, have you ever played Escape from Tarkov?
Yeah,
okay,
I played Tarkov.
Do you like Tarkov?
Yeah,
okay. So that's
give me the general pitch for what an extraction shooter.
General pitch for an extraction shooter. Escape from Tarkov is probably the most well-known one. But in that game, you basically
FPS plus what?
FPS plus
Money.
permanent gear loss if you die.
Oh, okay.
So if you go into a match, you go in with gear, and if somebody kills you, they can take all your gear and you lose it permanently.
Okay.
So that's kind of the gist. Very high stakes, very tense, very sweaty because people don't want to lose their hard-earned gear. If you jump a dude that has some super high-end sniper rifle that's completely decked out, he's probably crying in the corner while you are rejoicing because you got this amazing weapon that you can then try to extract with. So the key is you don't get to keep the gear unless you actually go to an extraction point and leave the match before getting killed. Usually when somebody is extracting, it alerts everybody on the map that, hey, somebody is trying to extract. And so that creates a lot of tension as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I like the concept.
Now, you know, we've had some extraction shooters. There's Rainbow Six Siege. They had their new game, which I can't remember the name of it, but they were getting into the, hey, we're kind of turning Rainbow Six Siege into an extraction game. It's a side shoot. It's not changing the whole game itself. Famously, a game that I have talked about an awful lot called The Cycle was an extraction game that I absolutely loved. Now, I will come out and say I absolutely despise Escape from Tarkov, so that type of game is not necessarily up my alley, but I absolutely loved The Cycle. So, we get this gameplay reveal for Marathon. I want to ask you guys first, what did you think of the gameplay and the reveal that we saw? I mean, it had crazy art style. The gameplay looks interesting. What do you think, John?
So my big unresolved question is whether or not there is a campaign mode. I don't know how that works.
There is not.
Well, that sours a lot of things for me, unfortunately, because
But you're not a big shooter guy.
I love shooters in campaign mode.
Right.
Like some of my favorite gaming memories were, frankly, Halo's campaign, like
Right.
Halo 2, Halo 3 campaign. I love them. Absolutely. And honestly, like Rainbow Six games, a lot of the old Tom Clancy games, which were shooters I grew up on, I loved them. They're fantastic. And at that point in my life, I was also doing a lot of the LAN party stuff. It didn't translate into the online, multiplayer thing so much for me. But yeah, I enjoy a good shooter. I really like a good shooter. Do I want to play a game that's only a shooter, like multiplayer? Probably not. That changes things for me quite a bit. The art style, though, I thought looked really cool. I was actually concerned initially out of the gate that they were going to be leaning too heavy on that sort of clunky, mechy, Spartan-y kind of look that they're known for with Halo, and I didn't feel like Destiny was that big of a departure. I think that there's a lot of cosmetic similarities, but I really liked it. I thought it looked very sleek and kind of elegant and stuff, and something new. So I don't know. My look was, even though now I probably won't be playing a lot of it unless it's for like a community gaming night, that it looked like a good game for its genre.
Okay, Ryan.
That's fair. Okay. So what do you,
Don't you steal my thunder, Ryan?
No, hold on.
I saved myself for last for this on purpose. So.
I'm the Bungie guy though, because I
You are
played
the Bungie guy.
1,700 hours of Destiny, so I have had my fair share of it. I personally, with the art style, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I did not like the look of it. I thought that it was kind of half-baked. I thought that they made it look like that so they didn't have to spend as much time on it and they could focus on some other things. Yeah, to me it was not, because Destiny came out in 2016, 17, something like that. It's been a while, a long time ago, and I thought it looked 10 times better.
Destiny's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game.
Yes.
The one thing that I have hope for is if Bungie can do anything, it's shooter mechanics, crisp, clean, FPS action is what they can do.
I would say some of the best shooting
ever
in any game. Like, legitimately.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Halo redefined it. Yeah, I think they've only
1,000%,
refined
and they
it
doubled
since then.
down on Destiny. It is some of the most crisp shooting gameplay you will ever get in a game, and I don't know if I saw that translate into this trailer and the gameplay that we saw. I hope it does, because that would be the only saving grace for this game for me. I'm not the biggest extraction shooter guy, but if this one kind of fleshes out to be something that is really clean and it's an enjoyable, precise shooter, I probably would fall in love with it. But if it doesn't kind of pan out to be that way, man, I don't know where this is going to go. And I think with what happened with Bungie and Destiny 2 and kind of where that tailored off, they're just going to get cooked, man. They're just going to get cooked.
All right. So I'm going to preface this by saying I don't want to see Bungie fail. Like, we never, and we've said this time and time again, we never want to see a developer fail. We never want to see a publisher fail. You know, there are people behind these video games that pour their hearts and souls into it. We saw this with our interview with Bungie, where, you know, these are awesome people. It is their passion in life to do this. You know, but there, you know, sometimes it's not up to the developers and the teams that are working on the game and stuff like that. So with that said, and with the preface that I am not a fan of extraction shooters, my thinking when I saw this is, Bungie, what the heck are you doing? Why? Why would you copy a genre that is not a popular genre? Like, I had this discussion with my coworker today because he is a huge fan of Escape from Tarkov. Huge. Yeah. I mean, he plays more Escape from Tarkov than just about anybody I know. I know that people that love Escape from Tarkov really, really love that genre, and it just clicks with them about the high stakes, and the shooting is usually good and things like that. But we already have Escape from Tarkov. We already have extraction shooters. And where I really started to get a little triggered by this is they have copied Escape from Tarkov in so many ways, even from the inventory screen, right? So when you pop up and you loot somebody and the little inventory screen pops up, it looks like a just gigantic mess of inventory. There's 50 objects on the screen, and it's like, I don't know what the heck any of this stuff is. That's Escape from Tarkov. When you go to loot a container, right? And you open it up, in most games, the loot's just right there. You go, oh, sweet, man. Nope. In Escape from Tarkov, you have to wait a few seconds before you see what's in the container, because that is mimicking your guy rifling through this container and trying to find loot. And they copied that 100%, dude. And so my biggest gripe with Marathon is where is the innovation, dude? Yeah. Like, we talk about innovation all the time, right? Like, if this was some indie developer that was trying to like make waves in the industry and saying, guys, I am a huge fan of extraction shooters. I'm an indie developer. I'm going to make my own. You know, I can get behind that. I can say, cool, it's not my favorite genre, but if this is your passion in life, awesome. Bungie is the studio that gave us Halo. Bungie is the studio that gave us Destiny 1 and 2, and now they have this chance to come out with this shooting game that we've been waiting years for it. And what do we get? We get a clone of Escape from Tarkov. Why? Like, what the heck, Bungie? You're just copying something that already exists? That's my problem, dude. It's not that I don't think that the game looks good, okay?
Yeah.
And we've seen previews, and so after the gameplay reveal, we had a lot of streamers and big names in the video game review, thing that got a chance to play it, right? And they all made their videos for it, and they all came out and they said, dude, it's Bungie. The shooting, like you were worried about, is top-notch, dude. It is the top-notch Bungie shooting like you would expect. The art style, I think, is preference. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't hate it so much that it's distracting to me.
I could see it would be divisive.
I will
sure.
say that I thought the resolution looked kind of low, but maybe this was just in some of the videos that we saw. You bump up that to 4K and you get that plasticky look to it, and I think that could actually look pretty good. But the art style to me is kind of meh. It's whatever, right? Like, but when you strip all that away, you're just left with a clone of Escape from Tarkov. And this is what all the streamers talked about, all the people that got to play this game and get the preview, and then they were saying, oh, I played Marathon for 8 hours and here's my thoughts. Almost universally, they said, dude, the game's neat. It plays incredible. The gunplay is the Bungie gunplay that you would expect. But I feel like I've played this game before.
Yeah.
And not only have I played this game before, but this is a sweaty, super competitive, high stakes game that generally tends to put a lot of people off, myself included, because it's not the kind of gameplay loop for me. I don't want to lose all of my stuff because some cracked out dude sniped me from across the map, and then now I lost all my gear. Yeah, I mean, legitimately, I don't like the.
I'd be at like base build basically forever.
Yeah, I mean, and so when I saw this, I think I literally screamed, like, what are you doing? You have to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, this is Bungie, dude. Where is your innovation? You're telling me we waited 5 to 7 years for you to just copy Escape from Tarkov and make it look different? Like, okay, because I know there's fans of Escape from Tarkov, and they're saying, Josh, quit slamming Escape from Tarkov. It's a great game.
It's a good game, man.
It is a good game. And again, I think it scratches a very unique itch that a lot of people have. Yeah. And I will say that Bungie, there's classes in Marathon. So you can play 6 different classes. There's tanks, there's really fast people, there's stealthy people, there's, you have, they have all these different abilities. Ryan, they have a little spider mine guy that I know you loved.
Yeah.
So, you can play these classes. They have abilities. There's lots of different guns and loot and things like that you can get. But ultimately, it is all going to boil down to the same gameplay that we already have.
Yeah.
We already have these games, dude. And so I'm having a very hard time wrapping my head around why Bungie would spend 5 years developing a game that already exists. And I'm going to end my rant very soon here because I do want to end it on a positive note. I'm a huge fan of the cycle. Now, the one thing that I really love is that this is a PvEVP game, right? You have to worry about people just as much as you have to worry about the environment. And what a lot of people said is the AI in this game is bananas. And you have to worry about the AI almost as much as you need to worry about people. And sometimes they're actually better than squads that you'll come up against. The cycle had that PvE element locked down. Now, the cycle failed because it was an Epic Game Store exclusive, and the devs legitimately ruined their own game with some patches that took away all the fun out of the game. The movement in that game was incredible. Some of and the devs just tried to patch it out and equalize things, and it completely ruined that game. And when they realized that the game was ruined, they turned it into the Cycle Frontier. Do you guys know what the Cycle Frontier was?
Mm-mm.
It was an exact clone of Escape from Tarkov. Legitimately. It's an exact. So we've been down this road.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm so just like flabbergasted, man, where it's like, why is this the route that you went? Like, make it make sense to me.
So as somebody who hasn't played anything, obviously, and I'm going to be reserving judgment until we get the opportunity to play it, I know this about Bungie. When they were pitching Halo initially, the people that they were answerable to had lots of opinions. They didn't like the name. They thought it was confusing. They didn't like any of the aesthetic designs. They thought, why another shooter? There's lots of shooters that are already successful in this space. And Bungie said, no, we've got a very crystalline, singular focus on this. We know what we're doing. And they delivered it. And I think what they did was they took a pretty unnovel concept of a shooter, and they really, really dialed it in and refined it. I think that it is possible that Bungie saw that there's an opportunity in this extraction shooter space where they said, you know what, there's something to this, but nobody's really done it right yet. Perhaps we can do that.
Yeah.
And that's where I would hang my hat at this point. I have faith in Bungie. I think that they will pull out a banger. I think this is going to be popular. I think that there are probably novel innovations in this that we just haven't been able to realize yet at this stage in its reveal and development. But I have faith. I think Bungie, I'm rooting for you.
We all are. I think we all are. And the thing is, like, my only counter to that is, you know, how many of the people that made those decisions for Halo are still there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing, you know, because that I mean, you can cheer for a sports team and this team did this and that and this and that. That was 5 years ago. There's only one person on the team left from there, you know, like it's just, that's who matters. The core that's developing this game is what matters. I mean, I hope it's amazing because I had some of the best times of my life playing Destiny, and I want to continue that. And I love Bungie for what they gave me, and I want that to continue. But paying $30-40
$40
that's what's rumored. Is it's gonna, it's a
not
premier,
confirmed, but
it's
it will
premier
be,
tile,
right.
$40 with a bunch of transactions and micro stuff in there. Like, man, I don't know. You know, it's just gonna bleed me dry if I want to keep up. So we'll see. I hope it's good.
Those are valid points. Absolutely valid points, guys.
I hope it's good. A lot of people have said if they can take Escape from Tarkov and they can simplify it and make it more approachable for people, maybe they're onto something here. Because now you have a genre that is dominated by a game that most people don't like when they jump in and play it. And so if you can take that barrier of entry away, I think you could blow that genre wide open.
That's fair.
By its nature, it is a competitive, difficult to stomach when somebody kills you genre.
Yeah.
And there's no campaign. They do talk about story building, but you find these like little things as you play, and it's like, I don't know about that either. So
Jared, we're looking at you, buddy. Jared was a host on was a guest on the show from Bungie. He was one of the devs on it. Jared, come on, buddy.
Help me, Jared. Help me make sense of this, buddy. Get me hyped for this because I want to love this game, but I'm very, very concerned right now about this kind of angle that they're taking. Okay. That's my marathon rant, everybody. Sorry. Again, if this winds up being the cycle that I always wanted, I can't tell you how happy I would be, dude.
Yeah.
And there is a chance that it winds up being that. So we'll leave it there. Okay.
Take a breath, baby.
On to better news. Hades 2, guys.
Yeah.
Hades 2. We're getting Hades 2. Now, Hades 2 has been out in early access for a while. I have held off on playing Hades 2 because I love it so much that it's one of those games I say, hey, I'm not playing it until it's fully released. I want the full peak experience, boys.
Same.
But we did get some news that Hades 2 is going to be a timed exclusive for the Switch 2.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Nintendo.
Is that John over there?
Nintendo.
No, what is going on here, man? All right, John, as the Nintendo fan.
I love it. Frankly, this Nintendo Direct wasn't like mind-blowing for me. There were some nice reveals and stuff, and they spent a lot of time talking about the hardware, which wasn't terribly interesting to me. But what I thought they needed were some really good exclusives, some compelling reason other than ports of games that have already been out for a while to pick it up day one. Donkey Kong, not it for me. We got a lot of contrary feedback again on social media when we
some people love Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a really, really big Donkey Kong community, and they're good games. We never said
Nobody
they're bad
was
games.
Slandering Donkey Kong.
Just is it going to sell consoles? No. Is all. I loved Hades. I loved it. It is
as well.
Roguelike perfection to me, absolute perfection. And I, like you, loved it so much that I've been putting off playing the pre-release. I want to play the full game.
Yep.
And this is a very compelling reason for me to get a Switch 2. I'm stoked.
All right.
That's awesome. I mean, didn't the original Hades release on the Switch as well?
It did. Yep.
Mhm.
So this
So
is not for people that their
it's
initial
kind of
reaction is
standard. Like this is what they already did, and I know we always go over kind of what we're going to talk over the show. Me, I was like, oh, that's kind of normal, but I guess people that don't know, like this happened before the last time. So, I mean, it's news, but it's not news. But it's also for people like you guys that you know, you're a PC player. I'm a PC player for the most part. I have the Switch and stuff, but it is kind of, man, I gotta wait. You know, we're not used to having to wait for stuff like that. So having that timed release, if you don't have a Switch, you know, it's definitely a little different. But it is cool for Nintendo to have some sort of top tier game release that they can kind of pair up and be like, hey, you know, now you can buy a Switch too, you know, here you go. And we got this game coming out. You can only get it with this system. So it's smart for them and it's good for them.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's a game that makes sense for their platform
Yeah.
too. Like the FromSoft title that's coming out. What is it?
Duskborn or Duskblood? The
Duskbloods.
Duskbloods. That's it. Yeah.
It's cool that they got that agreement from Software, but that's not the right type of game for the Switch
Yeah.
for me. Hades is like the perfect portable game. It was great for me at the time when I was playing it. I was traveling a lot. I was in a lot of airports. I was in a lot of bus stations, train stations. It was awesome. It was deep and it could keep me engaged as long or as short as I had time for. And that is a selling proposition for Nintendo for me.
Yeah. I am not a fan of exclusives. I am one of those people that think I just want to play video games, man. Like, you know, I don't like that God of War was PlayStation exclusive for a while. I don't like that Halo was Xbox exclusive for a while. I get it from a business aspect. It makes sense. It's just my personal opinion. I just want gamers to be able to play games. And when you lock one behind a console, I'm just not a fan of that. I can understand why they do it. And I mean, let's be honest, Nintendo's the king of this because, you know, you're not getting their games on any other console, no matter what. So this is on par for Nintendo. This is on par for what Hades did with their initial release. I don't like it personally, but it's also a timed exclusive, so it just means I'm going to have to wait. You know, is John, you were probably going to buy a Switch 2 as soon as you can get one anyway. I mean, you're a huge
Actually,
fan of it.
no.
Okay.
The Direct got me a bit lukewarm on it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I was hoping for something like this, to some compelling reason.
Does it release with the OG Switch 2 or is it just Switch 2? Like,
what do you mean?
Just the original Switch as well, or is it only Switch 2?
That's a good question.
I thought that I read that it was as Switch.
If it's backwards, like if it's on both platforms,
both
then
platforms.
That's kind of a little bit less of an issue then because everybody in the world owns a Switch at this point.
Yeah.
So is Hades okay? So John, on that vein, you know, we went from my wife was super excited for the Switch 2 to when I told her what the release lineup was. You're getting Donkey Kong, you're not getting Mario or Zelda, you know, and she went, "Oh, well, I'm fine just waiting then." You know, and it sounds like you kind of had the same reaction where it's like, give me that hot title and then I'll spend my money on a Switch 2. Is Hades 2 enough of a hot title to get you to change your mind on the waiting part?
Assuming it is Switch 2 exclusive, definitely yes.
Okay.
Even if it's backwards compatible, still probably yes. I know there are going to be titles that come out for the Switch that I'm going to want at some point. You know, whatever the next 3D Mario is one of those. I love the Mario games. It'll probably be a holiday 2025 release that they just haven't put out yet. Nintendo announces their releases in a much shorter window typically,
which is nice.
Yeah, which I love.
I love too.
So I have faith that I guess it'll depend on how many Switches they're moving or how available they are. You know, there's socio-political economic things happening right now that might chafe, you know, might choke that a bit. But in short, yes, the first Hades was, man, it should be in my top 10. It's definitely like a top 12 or something. It's tiptoeing around the top 10. And I love my Switch. I still play it all the time. That would be a mover for me, certainly.
So according to IGN, the Hades 2 will release on the Switch and the Switch 2.
That's what I have too.
Yeah, so and then PC will be like an early access, but I don't really understand that because it's already in early access on PC. So maybe it's just they're not taking away the early access. I don't know. So, but yeah, it'll be on both.
That's kind of weird though, because like you want to sell your new system, but you're not making it exclusive to your new system. But if they did, then they would probably get such a bad backlash. Like, what do you mean I already got a Switch? Why can't I have it on the normal Switch? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Nintendo's a gigantic company.
Oh yeah.
But
we've
even today found out that there are some things that just don't make sense to me from a business perspective. If I was trying to move consoles, that would be exclusive to that console.
Yeah.
And I would take the backlash. Hey, look, guys, we're moving on to the next generation.
Yeah.
You coming with us or not?
Deal with it.
Yeah. If not, you still have Hades 1. It's a great game.
Yeah. All right. So if we go by the Hades 1, it's about a 5-month gap between when the timed console exclusive part of it. So I would assume it's probably going to be about the same. I'm just going to wait 5 months and then pick it up on PC, as much as I love Hades.
Oh yeah, on PC.
So, all right, guys. Zero Company. Star Wars fan?
Big time.
Yeah. Star Wars fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boys. So today, literally this morning, we got the announcement that, and I believe it's Respawn, came out and said, hey, we are announcing Zero Company. This was a code name. They talked about this before, but it had a code name like previously. But Star Wars Zero Company is going to be shown off on April 19th. It is a Star Wars turn-based tactics game a la XCOM, a la Baldur's Gate 3. Ryan is like, man, I love it. Dude, the idea of having like an AT-AT on the field of battle and a Jedi over here and a little land speeder over here and a little group of stormtroopers or something all duking it out in tactical combat. Dude, this gets me so amped. I cannot wait for this gameplay review. I know you're excited, John. Ryan's like, I was real excited until you said turn-based. We got to change your mind on that, right?
No, I don't know. It's just that's why I love action RPGs, because the fluid movement of transition between the world into combat, like it's just fluid and it goes and you don't have to stop. And then I'm looking at the AT-AT and I'm like,
but this is a little I mean, this isn't like Persona or Final Fantasy. This is like XCOM or, like I said, like Baldur's Gate 3 is a lot more modern game that a lot of people would be familiar with, where, you know, it's a top-down perspective. You're moving, you're planning your attack, you're strategizing. You know, it's not like Final Fantasy where it's just like behind you 3 people.
I
and
know.
then you just wait
I get it. I get
Ryan's
it. It's
like,
just
doesn't change it.
It doesn't. It's just not for. I'm sure. I wish I could get into them because I know a lot of them have some really great stories and in their amazing games that everyone just loves, but I just can't get behind it, man. They just do not do anything for me.
It's your loss.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I wish I could, but you know, it's just not for me.
Yeah, and that's fair. You're a pretty like kinetic, you know, keep going kind of guy, so it makes sense. I grew up on tabletop gaming, so like this is like
I want that strategy.
This is great, and I like to, you know, anybody who's watched our Instagram, I like to play games while I'm walking on my treadmill, and our you know, turn-based RPGs, specifically tactical turn-based RPGs, are the best for it.
Yeah,
and I love Star Wars. It's one of my very favorite IPs in all of fiction.
Yep.
And for as good as that IP is, there's as many good games as there should be. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This could be good.
Literally rewatched Rogue One yesterday.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah.
One of the best
People
Star
in our
Wars,
community were talking about it, and I was like, dude, it's been like 2 years since I've watched Rogue One. So I rewatched it. And then Andor season 2 is coming out in a little while. And so my wife and I don't have a show to watch right now. And so I was like, would you want to rewatch Andor season 1 with me? And she's like, what do you mean rewatch? We've never watched that. And I was like, no, I want to rewatch it and I want you to watch it with me. And she agreed. And I was like, yeah,
she's locked in, baby.
Yeah,
she's locked in.
I'm pumped, man.
Is she into Star Wars at all?
No.
So I would love to hear what her opinion is. I've been trying to pitch it to my wife too. She has I wouldn't say zero interest in Star Wars, but next to zero. But I think that show is so good on its own merits that you don't have to be a Star Wars fan. I think it's so well written.
That's how my wife was with Rogue One. Like, she is not a Star Wars fan, but she's like, this is a really good movie. And she'd be like, let's watch Rogue One. And I'm like, Sold. Say less, homie.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
All I had
Like,
to do was tell her it wasn't,
Okay.
it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
filled with Jedi and lightsabers and droids, and she was like, okay, that sounds like a little bit better to me. So yeah, I'm excited. So anyway, we don't really have that much information about this. The gameplay reveal April 19th. We will absolutely be talking about this after that, but I am hyped for
You
that
might
one.
lose me on that one for a while. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. All right, another really quick story because I know we're running long here. This dude, okay. I know that we are mega fans of Marvel Rivals.
Yes.
You know, we play almost nightly, and John admitted to us before recording, he said, guys, the last community night, because again, for people that aren't aware, we try to get together with our community, which is almost 1,000 gamers strong, once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, to come together and play video games because that's just a blast. And so this last week we played Marvel Rivals. John was there with us. He was struggling. Somebody said, John, maybe you should try Scarlet Witch. And it just clicked with John. And he admitted before we started recording, he's like, guys, I think I might actually like Marvel Rivals now. Yeah. And then so Ryan and I lost our minds and we were like, yes. But I gotta, so listen, this is the whole thing. This game does not take itself too seriously. The Venom twerking emote is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah.
To the point where if somebody says, meet me in the middle of the map and let me twerk, both teams will come together and not kill each other and sit there and watch Venom twerk for like 60 seconds before it's like, okay, now let's kill each other.
We had a Jeff battle for the point earlier too, like a week ago.
I love it. I love it. So I love the fact that Rivals does not take itself too seriously. You know, there has been some, I don't want to call it controversy, but, you know, there's a lot of cake in this game.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of cake. And, you know, the cake, a lot of people have said, oh, well, when Invisible Woman was released, this is a triple layer cake, you know, and you know, and then now Emma Frost comes out and that's just a
German chocolate.
A German chocolate cake. And so, you know, there's a lot of conversation about all of this. But man, if they didn't secretly also buffed, this is the story, is that the developers secretly buffed a lot of the male heroes, we'll call them assets, and didn't tell people. And people started to realize, like, dude, Venom's looking kind of caked up, man. And Venom was caked up anyway, but it's like, and then I've been playing a lot of Captain America, and people have been being like, that's America's butt right there. Is Captain working out? And then people
My man
this out.
representing.
And sure enough, they came out and they said, yes, we did enhance a few of the male assets in this game to go along with some of the female assets that are in this game. We all had a fantastic laugh, but I mean, this is the dumbest story ever.
This is equality, and I love it.
That's exactly the point. It's like part of the reason is that people that are mad at the female characters, they kind of like quieted that by going, well, we did it to the male characters. And now everybody goes, all right, now everybody's happy. You're darn right. We got a Venom
Give the people what they want.
Now Venom's caked up. Everybody's checking out the Venom too, man. It's just like,
the moral of the story is squat.
Yes.
Everybody squat.
Don't
That's what we're
skip
doing.
leg day.
Yeah, don't skip leg day.
Oh my goodness. That story was the funniest story I've seen this week. So, all right, guys, one last story that we've got to get to. And again, this is the Switch 2. I mean, it's in the news. It's a hot conversation. You know, it's what a lot of people are talking about. We actually did touch on this very, very briefly in our Switch 2 reaction episode. So if you haven't heard that one, number one, you're missing out on another great rant. But make sure you check that one out. But it has been confirmed, and I love Ryan. Ryan put this story in our show doc, and he literally put in huge capital letters, "Are you kidding me?" And that is, as every Switch owner in the world knows, you're going through those Joy-Cons like crazy. You are getting stick drift no matter what you do. You're lucky if it maybe takes 6 months.
Yeah.
I have personally bought brand new Joy-Cons, and a month later had stick drift show up in those Joy-Cons. This is a known issue. It's not exclusive to Nintendo. I will say that. We get this on Xbox controllers. It's just a kind of a nature of the technology, but it's something that every gamer in the world hates. And it's probably something that every console controller manufacturer loves, because then they sell a whole bunch of controllers to people, you know, and Nintendo people have been complaining about this. There was a class action lawsuit against Nintendo about this very issue. And so when the Switch 2 was announced and all the specs came out, people said, you're fixing the stick drift, right? And there's a technology, and I'll be honest, I don't know what this technology is because I really haven't looked into it, called Hall effect joysticks. And the Hall effect technology will prevent stick drift from ever happening. You will never have to experience this again. And Nintendo said, nah, we don't want to do that, man. You know how much money we make selling these stupid Joy-Con controllers? What do you mean Hall effect? Hall effect what? So
just go ahead.
Go ahead. Look, if it makes sense, right?
I am a corporate sympathizer. I am the corporate sympathizer of the three. I would hope.
Yeah, come over here. Come over here.
Good video only content there. Yeah, it's very clearly 2-on-1 now. I'm the corporate sympathizer. I would like to hope that this is not, in fact, deliberate obsolescence where they're like,
how can it not be?
It is deliberate.
How can it not be, dude? There's no possible way this is not deliberate. When you have a manufacturing problem or an issue that's coming from like your hardware does this problem, everybody has this problem with your hardware, and you don't fix it on your next iteration, your next release, like when you can, and you raise the price.
They didn't fix it with this specific technology. I don't know that they haven't figured out some other way to fix it. I don't know one way or another. We'll have to wait and see. This is all speculation at this point. I will say, to your point, that I have never had to replace a controller from any other system. Now, I'm exclusively a console gamer, except for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Switch is the only one that I've had, and I've run through, I don't know, I'm probably on like 5th pair of Joy-Cons or something like that.
So it seems like really prevalent. Like,
yeah,
man.
Well, like right. Really know about this issue?
It's certainly a known issue. I have faith that it is a Japanese-built company and that they are an integrity-based society and that they're going to fix this. And I'll eat my words if I'm wrong.
Well, I hope you're hungry.
Yeah,
I hope you're hungry, brother.
Me too. My takeaway on this is if you're already charging $450 for the Switch 2, which I think is a very high price, number one, just tack on $50 extra, call it $500, and then announce to people that you fixed the stick drift issue. You know what I mean?
Why do they have to charge more?
Because it's probably
make it work. Just make it work.
Listen,
like that is insane to me. We went over this. No, last year
might be more expensive to manufacture.
But their net revenue was over $3 billion.
No, that was their profit on what revenue? Because I think it was like I don't know, 60. I think it was like $60 billion in revenue, something like that, and $3 billion in profit or something like that. So they kept 5 pennies out of every dollar.
$3 billion is a lot of dollars, man.
It's a lot of dollars until you factor in EBITDA. You have to factor in amortization and taxation. You have to figure in dividends that you have to pay to your shareholders. There's a lot of things that go into that. $3 billion on paper doesn't necessarily translate.
None of that matters to me as a consumer. I want a system when I pay $450 to not have the controllers drift so I'm going like this and within a month. Like that does not seem like
Nintendo's the worst. Like,
it's so bad.
The problem. Nintendo is the worst. Now, I will say, and this part of this is my 1,800 hours that I have in Rocket League, but I've been through probably 4 Xbox controllers, in the past 5 years, right? And again, I was playing a lot of Rocket League, so it's kind of expected. We have been through like 5 or 6 pairs of Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch. Whatever Nintendo's doing, there's a quality control issue. Maybe it's how small they are, but they are the prevalent, like, when you think of stick drift, you think of
without a doubt. Absolutely.
How many PlayStation DualSense controllers have you had to replace, Ryan, because of stick drift?
Because of stick drift, one. And that's after 1,700 hours on Destiny and all that stuff. And I have an Xbox Elite that I got used, and I got to use it for another probably year before that had stick drift. Right. So I don't know how much time was on it.
You said you've never had to replace.
No, especially my Sony products have all been tanks.
There is a known issue here. The fact that Nintendo didn't fix this. Now, I looked up Hall effect, and I'll be honest, guys, this sounds expensive. I'm just going to read this. Hall effect sensors have a preset threshold, and when the magnetic flux density exceeds this limit, the device is able to detect the magnetic field by generating an output called the Hall voltage. This force causes a movement of electrons, creating a measurable Hall voltage and activating the Hall effect sensor.
We lost half the audience.
Sounds like nuclear technology to me. You know, I mean, again, I don't know the cost of this. I'm with you that, you know, how do you not make this a thing? But again, if it increases the price of all the Joy-Cons by $100 to where, you know, is that a solution?
Yeah. Charge $500 for the system and make a system that works.
Like,
I agree. Charge what you need to put the thing out correctly. Yeah.
I mean, you have a class action lawsuit against your company by people because this is such a known issue that people have come together and said, "Hey, dude," and Nintendo's like, "Sorry." You know how many billions we're making selling these Joy-Cons, you know, to everybody?
Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be leveled if they end up having to pay out this class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is that, like, if I'm thinking about this from a corporate perspective, they go, hey, we in a very real way are liable. We have liability because of this. Like, we're being sued.
They can't say they didn't know now. Like, the Switch 1, they could.
Well,
now they can't.
What I'm saying is that if the initial argument was, hey, we're going to make a lot of money by selling all of these additional controllers because we have built-in obsolescence in our controllers, now they also have to contend with the fact that there's this lawsuit, and this lawsuit could end up costing way more than they made on these additional controllers. So if I am a big entity like Nintendo, and I'm going, people are relying on me to release a quality product, and I know that there's an issue with this, we have to figure out a solution for it. And again, it may be ill-guided, but I have faith in them as a corporation.
You're going to start hearing those commercials online like, have you been wronged by Nintendo Joy-Con controllers? Like, call 1-800.
Yeah. Has John at the Video Gamers podcast led you wrong? Join us in this.
I will say this. I think that there is a compromise solution where, and Razer did this, right? Because I loved Razer mice for the longest time, and a lot of them have a double click issue, right? And I remember I spent a lot of money on this Razer mouse, and it started double clicking to where I couldn't hold to zoom because it would zoom in and zoom out real fast. Start doing some Googling, and it's like, oh, this is a known issue with the sensors that Razer uses. What does Razer do? They don't stop making that mouse. They just make a version that has a pro sensor in it that uses lasers instead of whatever the clicker things are. And now you don't have to worry about double click issues, right? But then now they charge a premium for it, and they say, oh, you want the Razer V2 with the optical sensor? Like, okay, well, that's $90, buddy. Oh, you want the old Razer that is probably going to have double click issues? Only $50. Which one do you want to buy?
Yeah.
And most people go, well, I don't have $90 to spend on a mouse, so I'll buy the $50 mouse, and then I'll just deal with the double click issue.
Yeah.
So what Nintendo could do is say, hey, guys, Hall effect Joy-Cons. You want them? You're going to pay for them. $100. We'll call them pro controllers or whatever you want to. I guess I can't call it that because that's a different controller for that. But you can offer the option to people that want it, and if people don't pay for it, then you can go, I mean, we offered it. We gave you the choice, you know, and then that would be the solution too. Ugh, gross. I can't believe it. I know. I just feel like I stood up for Nintendo right there. All right.
Who are you?
Goodness gracious. All right, guys, listen, we are out of time. This has been a blast. If you have ever wanted to watch a video of this one, this is the one to do it because we are all together in studio. I mean, just having fun. Dude, talking video games is a blast.
The best.
It is really the best. It is why we do this podcast. It is why we have the community that we have. If you are not part of that community, you are missing out. I mean, we read the review from Lucy Moon who said, hey, I was a lurker for the longest time. She is very active now. We have gamers of all ages in there. We have men, we have women. I mean, everybody is welcome in this community.
From around the world, too.
From around the world. I mean, you know, and so just come be a part of it. We welcome you to lurk and just check it out for a while, but it really is the best place on the planet for gamers. So if you are a gamer and you're like, man, I really wish I had other gamers to hang out with and just talk games. You know, sometimes we get lurkers that pop up and they're like, dude, I got a buddy. We're looking for a game to play together. Can people recommend us a game? A bunch of people chime in and then they just disappear into the ether again. And that's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that they're there is awesome. So link is in the episode description. If you would like to ask us a question for the show or just support the podcast in general, you can head over to multiplayersquad.com to do that. We have different tiers. Our epic tier gets to ask a question for the show, which we will absolutely answer at the top of an episode. So that's a fun little perk there. You also get a bunch of Discord perks and stuff also. And don't forget to leave us a review. It really, really does help the podcast. If you're listening on Apple, it's a 5-star, or I'm sorry, if you're listening on Spotify, it's a 5-star rating. If you're on Apple, you can actually leave us a written review and we will read that on the show at some point. That's our guarantee to you.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We swear.
We don't want to spend 20 minutes at the top of a show reading reviews to try to get caught up either, because that's not fun for anybody either. So, all right, that's going to do it for this episode, boys.
All right.
Until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.
Toodles.